so many people are focused on just physical, getting rid of the tumor, shrinking the tumor. So all they're focused on is that. And so many people are missing the connection of the emotional trauma that they've been through in their life, the stress that they're going through in their life. And they just don't think that that is as big a deal as just the biological physical. And I every single person that is healed of cancer, I keep saying this and I'll keep saying it because it's 100% true. I've never interviewed somebody who had stage 4 cancer who didn't say to me that they had to heal emotionally before they could actually heal of cancer. All right, here we are with the Healing Oasis podcast, and I have a special guest today, Irene. Thank you, Irene, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So this is great because I always love when people reach out to me and say, hey, I would like to share my story about how I got to heal from cancer. So I haven't even heard your story. This is the first time we've met. So,
You mean you haven't ordered my book from Amazon?
well, let's talk about that. After we're done hearing your story, we're going to make sure everybody knows about your book from Amazon. And yeah, so how did you even how did you get a hold of the Healing Oasis?
You know what? Your initial, I don't know, ad, I guess, or something, you
Okay.
were speaking. I don't know whether it was on my Facebook page or whether it popped up on my YouTube channel. And
Okay.
there you were. And so I thought, I've got to find out what this is about.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
what you've healed from cancer? What type of cancer was it that you healed from?
In September 98. I
Okay.
was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer, where
Yep.
my tonsil had been, but it was metastasized to the lymph nodes in the neck already. Stage
Okay.
4. They gave me a few months to live.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went home, the night after the diagnosis and all the things they wanted to do to me. And I just said, well, God, I'll do whatever you want. And
Wow.
everything inside of me screamed out, no, no treatment. I said,
Interesting.
okay, then just tell me what to do.
Okay, so bring me back. I know it was 1998, so it was a while ago, but what did it feel like when they gave you the diagnosis? Did they sit down and help you feel like calm and or was it very fear driven and like you got to do this right away or what was it like?
No, at first they didn't say much of anything.
Okay.
They first did the needle biopsy,
Yep.
and then they did the tonsil later. And when the doctor came in to tell me about the diagnosis, he actually had tears in his eyes.
Wow.
He said, I don't know why you have this. And I thought to myself, I do. I was in ministry work. I had graduated in 95 from Bible College of helping plant a church in Canmore, Alberta, um, leading a prayer group, even with the pastors. But at home, I was in an abusive situation,
Okay.
mentally and emotionally abusive. I understood why my husband was that way. And at that point in time, I didn't have the confidence I do now. I didn't know how to set boundaries
Right.
and all of that. And I was growing very angry, bitter, resentful, and all of that. In fact, I said, Lord, whatever it takes. I didn't want another divorce, and this was my second marriage, but I couldn't go on this way. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, I thought, oh, I didn't know I'd be the one to die.
Right. Right. So
But
so
anyway,
you knew it was rooted in this emotional trauma that you were going through with your relationship. You knew that's where the cancer was rooted.
that's what I believe because our bodies respond to our emotional,
Yep.
the things we say and believe and do, right?
Yep.
And but through the whole process, I learned to forgive my husband. I knew
Interesting.
I loved him, and I knew there was trauma and different things that caused it, but and that made a huge difference.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up forgiveness because there was a doctor at a conference that I attended, and he has helped treat people with cancer. And he says that if there's unresolved forgiveness, the
Hmm.
treatments don't actually work that well. And he said that as soon as people actually let go and forgive and there's not bitterness, he said the same treatments, so he doesn't change anything, the same treatments, and they actually start working. So isn't that interesting? You brought up
Hmm.
forgiveness, and I think forgiveness is a huge aspect to healing for sure.
Very much so. And it goes along with stress management. The one, a month after being diagnosed, I ended up working with a doctor in Vancouver with Chinese apple therapy. It's
Okay.
Chinese herbs, you cook them in a cooking pot, they smell terrible and taste worse.
Right.
But he said to me, unless you reduce the stress in your home,
Yeah.
it won't matter what treatment you do, it won't work.
Totally. You know, the healing away, it's funny you bring up that because at the Healing Oasis, sometimes I tell people it's not like we're doing something magical. Like, we don't have a cure. I just tell people that you're getting away from your stress. You're getting away from your current environment. You're in a forest, you're in nature, you're eating properly, you're reducing your stress, you're dealing with your emotions. And sometimes when we just do that, it just really works. Our body starts to heal.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
amazing.
so bring me okay, so you got diagnosed, they gave you only a few months to live. You had a stage 4. It had spread to your lymph nodes. So what did you do after that? Because you said you went home and you felt a strong like from God saying, "Hey, don't go the conventional route." So what did you end up doing?
Well, what happened then is I talked to my husband about it and he had a fit. I'm like, no way. So his brother was a doctor as well.
Okay.
So I reluctantly agreed to go ahead and wanted to do radical radiation first
Okay.
to reduce the surgery
Hmm.
um, a bit, I guess. Well, they made a plastic mask and bolted me to the table so I wouldn't move when they were doing the measurements for the radiation. So there I was, laying on this table, cold, cold room, this big machine about an inch from my face, and I had a knife-like sharp pain across the back of my head. I don't know what I was on that table, but I couldn't really speak to them. There were three, I think, people in the room doing these measurements. They wanted to do it here, where the cancer was, here and here to really attack it. After an hour of that, all I could do was say the name of Jesus. I couldn't even pray. I'll tell you, I was a basket case when that was over, especially when the nurse said, we're going to fill you with so many toxins, you'll have to detox when it's over.
Right.
And I thought, I'm not doing this. I phoned my husband from my car and I just said, I'm not doing this treatment unless you let me go and see that doctor in Vancouver. And so he reluctantly agreed. And that got me away to Vancouver 3 days a month for 4 months in Kitsilano. It was awesome. And this doctor spent 4 hours with me explaining the whole thing and cancer and research and treatments and just so much.
Yeah.
But he was holistic, which
Right.
was what I wanted. But 4 months later, he said, it's still growing. Of course, they wouldn't see me at the cancer clinic. In fact, when I went back from the first time from seeing him, I had to go to the cancer clinic and tell them I wouldn't be doing their treatment. Before I could even do that, the oncologist said, well, we've looked at the results again, and it's a lot worse than we thought. There's really not a whole lot we can do for you.
Interesting.
So I left the cancer clinic, driving to my friend's place. I said, well, Lord, you're either going to heal me or you're going to take me home to heaven.
Right.
Either way, I win.
Right.
I was filled with joy, no fear, joy. So that's what started my trips there. But then after the 4 months, when it was still growing, and that doctor said, you might have to do some radiation. And I couldn't. Everything just said no. And I tell people today, when they're making a serious decision,
Yeah.
do let you have peace. Whether they're a believer in God, I'm so grateful I was,
Hmm.
but whether they're a believer in God or not, where's the peace? Do you
Yeah.
have peace? If you don't, you either need more information,
Yeah.
or it's not the thing to do, or it's not the right timing.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference when we follow
I
what
I
God
I
says.
think Irene, I hope people listening really hear this out because so many people make decisions in fear when they get cancer, they get a diagnosis, and the doctors that are in their white coat, they're telling them, and something inside of them is saying, "Okay, I don't think I want to do this," but this person in a white coat that's supposed to know everything is telling them, "If you don't do this, you're going to die," or whatever. And I think it's just important for people to have peace. I like that you said that. When people make a decision, even if it goes against so-called authority, they just have to have peace that this is the path that they're supposed
Mhm.
to go on. And by the way, I want to be clear, sometimes that path might be exactly what the doctor is
Yeah,
suggesting, right? I mean, you might
absolutely.
have peace and say, this is the path that I'm supposed to be on. But I think that it's important that you find that path that gives you peace. And it's okay to take time. Like so many people, when I talk to people that come as guests at the Healing Oasis, and the one thing I hear very common is a lot of them regret that they didn't just take a little bit more time to make a decision instead of rushing into like, oh, you got to cut that organ out. Okay, okay, I'll do. And then they just wish that they would have taken a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Um, but so I'm glad you brought that up. So make sure that you have peace in your decision and you're not being led by fear. It's not a fear-driven decision, but it's a decision based in peace that you feel. When you were making this decision, so you got to see that doctor, the doctor was really the alternative doctor, and then you were just about to say that the oncologist basically said, "Okay, there's nothing we can do." So I want to get sort of put myself into your shoes. So you're not getting actually good information. A few months later, your cancer is actually getting worse, apparently. So how do you stop the fear? I guess you said it. You have faith and you say, well, God, if you're going to heal me, you're going to heal me. And if not, I guess I'm not afraid of death.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I wasn't afraid to die, then I wasn't afraid to really live.
Right.
And oh, what a difference.
Right. And you're
And
not afraid to make decisions that you believe your heart is telling you to make instead of what other people want you to make.
exactly. And thank goodness my family was behind me. And my
Right.
daughter and my son, supported me in that. And so when the basic doctor had said you might have to do radiation, I went home and I said, well, what now, Lord? I was alone. My husband was up in Alaska working. And in the middle of the night, I woke up in a little bit of fear. And I was sitting at the top of our stairs, looking down over the living room and just crying out to God and saying, well, Lord, I've forgiven my husband. I've been eating the plant-based diet, no meat, no dairy, no sugar. And what was the other thing? No dairy. Doing everything you've told me to do. I don't know what to do now. And I was trying, but then I said, well, Lord, I don't understand it, but if you can be glorified by me dying of throat cancer, then okay,
Right.
here I am. Do what you want with me.
Right.
And this incredible peace came over me that was just remarkable,
Yeah.
totally supernatural. And from that day on, I never had any fear or anything unpeaceful. I just followed what I felt God was telling me to do. Was in prayer meetings. Many people were helping me. And I learned to receive God's love more than ever. I knew it here, but
Yeah.
it took going through this whole 2-year experience to get it here in my heart.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
Oh,
Our mission, my wife and I at the Healing Oasis is to love. That's our mission. That's our calling, is to love. I actually believe, Irene, I know you'll know this, but there's a verse that says God is love from First John. And my prayer my whole life has been that I can experience his love like no other family. Like I pray for my family that we could experience his love like no other family has ever experienced his love. And I think so many of us don't really know his love because we live in a world of condemnation and judgment and comparing to each other and fear. And so it's hard sometimes to know and actually experience his love. But I believe that love is the most powerful force in the world. It's the most powerful healing force in the world. There's something about love that the essence of it heals. And I'm really happy you're bringing this up. So you started to feel, and why is it, do you think? I don't know. I've often thought about this, but why is it that we have to suffer to really start to really experience true love? I
I don't
mean,
know. And, you know, God said in the Bible that we would have suffering and this and that. And I think it just draws us to do more search, you
right.
know, search more and ask why and be more open, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'll tell you, it's well worth it because if I hadn't gone through cancer, I wouldn't be the person I am today. But if I hadn't had faith, I probably wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, I believe that. And I mean, it's faith is miraculous. And I hope everybody listening, I don't know how it works because it's miraculous, but there's something about Jesus and just hearing and just in your heart. And if you ask God, he can give you the faith. I mean, that he can give you the faith.
Yes,
And faith is so important because to get through any kind of trial, any kind of suffering where there's uncertainty, you either try to maintain that control as a human, like I got to control it, I got to control my outcome. What faith is it's just allowing God to do what he's going to do and just totally trusting that that he's good and that he will accomplish what he wants to accomplish.
absolutely. You learn to listen, you learn to hear.
Yeah.
And I have never heard an audible voice yet. Some
Yeah.
people, but it can come as a thought or
Yeah.
a gut feeling, or sometimes it's one word, sometimes it's a sentence.
Yeah.
And it's just so, and the more you learn that, the more excited you become.
Hmm.
You know that you know his word is true. He's with us 24/7. He
Totally.
loves us no matter what we have done or what we will do.
Yeah.
And when we receive him, he may not be happy with our behavior, but he
Right.
loves us and he will try and correct us. And if we're listening, we will find the better way to go or whatever it is. And many, many people have suffered trauma growing up.
Hmm.
And that's one reason a lot of them aren't feeling loved or have difficulty accepting it. And but when we surrender and accept Jesus into our heart, it's the first step of really receiving that
Love
love
it. Totally.
and believing.
So,
And I read a book when I had cancer from another survivor, and she said, when I discovered that all the love I had was just from Jesus, nobody else loved me. She said, I realized that's all I needed.
yeah. Yeah.
More than enough.
Yeah.
And when
It's
that
true.
happens, sorry to keep interrupting, when that happens and we love ourselves, receive that
Hmm.
love ourselves, we can love other people. Even when they're not nice to us, we can look past their behavior and say, okay, God, what have they gone through that was making them be that way or treat me that way or not
Hmm.
you? You love them. Let
Hmm.
things help them.
It,
Wow.
this is so great that you're talking about this. I've really searched and asked, God says ask and you shall receive and seek and you shall find. And one of the questions I've often asked God is what is death? And I don't mean like biologically, physically. I just mean what is death? And of course, you grow up in Christian circles and you hear the common response, death is separation from God. But I wasn't wanting a theological response. I wanted God to talk to me. What is it? What is it? What is death? What is life? So the answer that I got, and I'm like you, I don't audibly hear it, but I hear it in my heart. But he told me He said, Dave, all death is the inability to receive my love. So
Mhm,
I'm going to let people think about this. This is what God told me. Death is the inability to receive my love, and life is the ability to receive my love. And the purpose of living is to receive love and to love.
mhm,
So the entire purpose of why we were created is to receive his love and then to be a vessel of that love and to love others. So this is the entire people sometimes have made it so complicated and so like what but all death is like it's all death is the reason why it grieves God and the reason why he had a solution for death through his son Jesus is because death is the inability to receive his love, and his heart is broken because he has a creation that can't receive his love. And so he brings life through his son Jesus so that we can actually for the first time receive his love. I
yes.
mean, and what you're saying is exactly what I've been told of what the meaning of life is all about.
Yes, and live with him forever.
Totally.
Couple, I don't know when I wrote this one, a couple of years ago or so, he said, too many people are dying not knowing me. Please write this book, Eternal Life Choices.
Okay. Eternal life choices.
It's written to unbelievers. If you don't know a choice, if you don't know you have a choice, how can you choose?
Right.
And it doesn't force anything on anyone, but it just explains eternal oneness with God, with His love, or if you reject Him and not, separation, you know?
Right. And I just hope that everybody, we grow up in a world where there's just, we're constant from the time we're in school, we're constantly judged, we're constantly compared. So sometimes when people hear love, they think, oh, the only example I have of love is this idea of how my dad or my mom, and I'm not saying some people have amazing examples of love, but the point is that so many people don't know God's love, this love that is unconditional, there's no self-centeredness in it, this love that is willing to lay down their life for you and always have your best interest. Like as I go through this world, I notice that no one has my best interest. It's just, it's like, no, but God does. He has my best interest. And being able to surrender to that is such a healing thing. And I'm sorry to, interrupt that, but I want you to keep going on that story of it sounds like you started to truly find healing when you actually were able to let go and really trust in his love and to experience his love.
Yes. You know, I was raised where I had to be perfect,
Right.
mistakes. And when I was a teenager, my mother indicated that if I wasn't a good girl, God was going to get me. I'd be
Yeah.
punished. Well, that doesn't feel very loving.
No. No.
And it didn't happen with my first husband, and it wasn't happening with my second. And well, maybe I wouldn't have married the ones I did if I had felt loved.
Right.
Love and forgiveness. Oh man, there's more stories about forgiveness with my first and second and then third husband. I could be with any one of them. And because of the forgiveness, and it was just brought healing and so amazing.
Mm.
My first and third are dead, but I didn't kill them. I just,
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good to know.
I felt like it sometimes.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that I want to make sure because when we talk a lot about this, about God and Jesus and love, sometimes people get the wrong idea. Like I always say to people, I'm actually the furthest thing from being religious because I don't believe in rules and judging and condemnation. And I'm glad you're
Right.
sharing this because we all have relationships. We're all imperfect in our relationships, but that's actually why love is so important because in the imperfection of our relationships, if we can experience God's love, then all of a sudden that love trickles into the imperfection of our relationships and it
Yes.
transforms our relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And want to communicate, even not having the same opinions, but respecting each other and working with the things God has called us to do. And Yeah, it really works. But can I carry on with the story?
Yeah, keep going. Yes.
Okay. So for 15 months, I did the diet and the love and forgiveness and all the things that I knew how to do. And the pastor from one of the churches, he was in our Bible, no, our prayer meetings. And he said to the people, who is ministering to Irene right now? And they said, well, I don't think anybody at this point, because my husband said he would come to church, but not to the one I was going to. So I hadn't been going for a little bit. And so Pastor Trevor called me up and said, can I come and see you? He came then every Friday for 2 or 3 hours. We spent just worshiping God, communicating, sharing. It was a blessing to both of us. And one day he said, or the Lord said to me while we were together, the Lord said, you have yourself on a tightrope. If you go too far to the left or too far to the right, I'll bring you back.
Hmm.
And the other thing he said, if you sit on the couch the rest of your days and don't share my gospel with anybody, because I was a speaker and a teacher, um, I love you just as much.
Wow.
Not about performance,
Wow.
not at all.
You're you so many people need to really experience what you're talking about, because a lot of religion and church is very performance based, and so it's hard for people to grasp that you can actually be loved no matter what.
Yeah, and like you say, that's the spirit of religion.
Yeah.
We're about relationship.
Yeah.
God is about relationship. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Whoa. It's worth millions of dollars, folks.
Yeah, totally. S-
So after the 15 months of just doing whatever God was telling me to do, it was still growing. It
Yeah.
was up to about an inch here on my neck, about 3 inches long.
Okay.
And then growing inside, my awesome doctor in Canmore would see me every month, do blood work, and she supported me in whatever I decided. And but she said it's growing each time. And then, excuse me,
It's okay.
then one night I had a dream where I was in the bottom of a deep, dark pit with a huge snake coiled around me,
Hmm.
trying to snuff out my life. I looked up, a flaming white sword came down and hacked up the snake. I crawled to the top. There was a big cross there with the wording, let Jesus do it.
Hmm.
So the next morning I said, okay, Lord, I'm just going to do whatever. And I'm not doing another thing until you tell me what to do.
Wow.
2 weeks later, I was coming downstairs at night and I heard the Lord say, do what your husband wants you to do. I
Hmm.
said, what? Let him listen to you. Talk about fear.
Yeah.
And he said, trust me. I said, okay. So I talked to my husband the next morning, or that morning, and he had softened a lot.
Hmm.
He even let me pray. And then he said, well, it doesn't make sense because if they couldn't help you before, how can they help you now?
Right.
And I think we should go back to the cancer clinic. So my doctor in Canmore had to convince them that I would at least look at their treatment.
Hmm.
So we went back, and that was the only appointment. My husband came with me. The doctors wanted to cut out my tongue and voice box,
Okay.
and they didn't think they could get all the cancer.
Hmm.
And I said, no way. I'm a, I'm a minister work, a speaker. I'll be healed and go home to heaven. Thank you very much. I'm not doing it. What's next? They said radical radiation might slow it down a 30% chance. Not good odds.
Right.
But I had peace. I had peace. For the first time, I said, Lord, you don't need radiation to heal me, but you are up to something.
Mm.
And so I agreed. And 35 treatments here, here, and here. And for the first, let's see, 4 weeks, people took turns driving me the hour drive from Canmore to Calgary to the clinic, waited while I had the treatments, drove me home. And that was a one-way God loved me.
Yeah.
And so many little miracles happened. My husband let me go to Boise, Idaho to see my pastor friends. And while there, I went to the cancer clinic and had an amazing interview with a doctor, and she took me for a view of the treatment center. Well, flying home from Boise to Portland first, a young girl was sitting beside me. And she said, why were you in Boise? So I told her to visit my friends, and I had gone to the cancer clinic. She started digging in her purse, pulls out a card, and says, my mom is the director of that cancer clinic. Here is her card with her home number, her business number. If you need anything, you just call her. She
Wow.
prays with people before their treatment.
Wow.
Who but God could set that up?
Wow.
And I just get goosebumps talking about it. Then Holy Spirit, I just said, oh Lord, you are amazing. So many more stories, but that's one of them. But so anyway, but the last 3 weeks of the treatment, I was so ill and dehydrated. They actually admitted me to the hospital, the cancer
Okay.
clinic. IV right away, medications. I think I ended up going through 2 blood transfusions. I could hardly eat. They tried to put a feeding tube in. It broke off, didn't work. Tried a second one. I said, get that thing out of me. It's not working.
Right.
I became very bossy. And so they did. And I had to sleep, sitting up because I had so much mucus forming. And it was painful, the whole bit. My daughter, bless her heart, bought me a dress and put zippers in the sleeves so I could get up every morning and shower and then put on the dress. Why sit around in a hospital gown if I believed I was healed and getting healed?
Yeah.
They used to take the IV and go for walks along the corridor and minister to some people. And one day, a lady that I had guided towards New Age way back, whom I hadn't seen for years, was wheeled into one of the beds in my room. There were 3 beds. And I thought, wow, so Carolyn, I haven't been able to get a hold of her, was able to share a bit with her, but she was pretty okay the way she was. And we had prayer meetings around my bed every day. It
Wow.
was miraculous. But when I was finished, after 7 weeks of treatments, I was totally exhausted, had lost most of my teeth. I now
Yeah.
have some dentures, hard to talk.
Right.
And so exhausted, 400 milligrams of morphine that didn't cut the pain. And I still had cancer, tiny bit smaller, but that's it. 6 weeks later, 300 women prayed for me at a women's conference in Canmore. It was the only time we had it there. It was from the Bible college I had gone to. And then I left. On the Sunday, I went back, had a bit more prayer, and left. 2 blocks away, pardon me. Everything inside of me said, go back. That's Holy Spirit.
Right.
Go back. You're not complete. I went back. The pastor put her hand on my throat and said, Jesus is all she needs. And this tremendous heat went through that whole area for about 5 minutes. Remember the
Wow.
dream that Jesus did it?
Yeah.
Jesus is all she needs. 3 days later, at the cancer clinic for my checkup, the doctors were shocked. My daughter was with me, so she heard them, saw their faces. They said, the most we hoped for was to slow it down, and it is totally gone.
Wow. Wow.
So
And
that was a miracle.
and so it was gone, and that was when? What year?
That was in 2000.
2000. And so you're here, you are 2026.
Yep. And I'm 79. I'll be 80 in November. I've got more strength and energy than I probably had back then.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Jesus is still healing. So
Oh,
he must be alive. He's still healing, still doing what he did.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's such a great story.
Oh, and can I tell you one more little thing?
Sure.
A year after I was healed, I was ministering to another cancer patient, and I was at the hospital to go see him. And as I'm walking down towards his room, I'm compelled to go back into the room where I had been. There was a lady in the same bed with her family gathered around her. And they looked up at me and said, like, who are you? I said, I'm Irene. I was in that bed a year ago, not expected to live, but here I am. And I shared a little bit about Jesus and the healing. Then I left. Next day, same thing, compelled to go in. She was by herself. She said, oh, I'm so glad you've come back. I'm just so excited. I want to know more about Jesus. Ended up praying with her. She accepted Jesus into her heart. And I danced out of that room. I said, Lord, if that was the only reason I had cancer, it was worth it.
Right.
Oh, and there's
That
more.
that is so great.
That's the book.
Oh, there's another book, Finding
This is the
Hope.
one about cancer.
Oh,
Yeah, this is finding hope
okay.
in the midst of adversity.
Okay.
And the first chapter is more details than what I've shared, the healing journey.
Yeah.
And there's be better, not bitter.
Okay.
Witness the power of thought, how our thoughts really will affect us, and no matter what we eat, and I'm on a really plant-based, healthy diet,
Yeah.
and some meat, but not much, it won't matter. We
Yeah.
won't be healed well on the diet because of that. Thoughts we're having, if they are negative or condemning or anything, unforgiveness, they will affect our health more than anything.
It
And you know what I say to doctors today? And I've told a few of them, please do not take people's hope away.
yeah.
You take away their hope, they'll believe you. Many people will believe you. They'll fill up hope, go home and die. Maybe
Yeah.
not that big, but
Yeah.
fear, negativity, all of that. And
Oh,
then the treatments themselves, I
yeah.
was more focused on healing and treat the root cause as well. And
Yeah.
then a holistic approach. I'm a certified holistic cancer coach and educator now.
Okay.
When COVID hit, all my speaking engagements got shut down, and God led me to beatcancer.org. Chris Work.
Yeah. Chris Work. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with him. Watched your video with him,
Yeah.
podcast. And yeah, and like the foods that promote good health and the ones that promote ill health, very important.
Yeah.
But forgiveness and getting healed of the trauma we've been through.
Yeah, I think it's so great that we're having this conversation because, so many people are focused on just physical, getting rid of the tumor, shrinking the tumor. So all they're focused on is that. And so many people are missing the connection of the emotional trauma that they've been through in their life, the stress that they're going through in their life, and they just don't think that that is as big a deal as just the biological physical. And I every single person that is healed of cancer, I keep saying this and I'll keep saying it because it's 100% true. I've never interviewed somebody who had stage 4 cancer who didn't say to me that they had to heal emotionally before
Yeah.
they could actually heal of cancer. I have yet to meet somebody who says, "Oh, it was just physical. It wasn't emotional or spiritual." And I'm talking even people that don't share the same faith, like they maybe don't believe in Jesus, but they still say it was emotional and spiritual. um, that they had to deal with in order to start to heal. And I mean, it's really common sense. I mean, anybody knows that as humans, we're more than just our physical cellular makeup. Like we are definitely emotional, spiritual beings, and so that's a huge part of the healing journey for sure.
Oh, very much so. I've worked with addicts as well, and a lot of them is a horrendous trauma.
Right.
Into,
Yeah.
and yeah, and when they get healed of that, wow.
Well, I think this is awesome. I'm good. What I'm going to do, Irene, it was so great to meet you. And I'm actually going to put links to Amazon under the video. So if people want to go order your book and they'll have an easy way to do that. But I'm so glad that we connected for people to just hear your story. I mean, some people when they get this diagnosis of stage 4, it's spread. I mean, you even talked about you can see the tumor, which makes it even more scary because you're sitting there going, okay, I can actually see this thing, because sometimes the tumors are inside the body and you can't actually see it. So there's a lot of your journey of what you went through is pretty amazing, and it's a testimony to the fact that you did everything. Like sometimes people are like, oh, I'm never going to do conventional, or I'm never, but you actually, your healing journey involved a lot of aspects. You actually came back to conventional, which because you felt led and you felt like that was what you're to do. But you also are saying that it was your faith in Jesus and knowing His love and all of that that also played a massive role in. And I just think personally, my faith, I just think God is able to use anything. He's not restricted in His healing. If He wants to use chemo to heal, if He wants to use radiation to heal, and I also think if there's no way that if He wants to use food to heal, if He wants to use nature to heal, if He want, like, there's nothing that restricts Him from His healing.
That's right. I agree 100%.
Yeah. And I just think your story is a testimony to that. So I'm so glad that you took the time to share it with everyone. And I think people will resonate with that. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I love sharing it and I love helping people, no matter what stage they're at. And I don't force anything. I listen, I just share, but if they want suggestions, great, but I just really love working with them and helping them to recover. And
Maybe,
prevention is the cure.
sorry, say that again.
Prevention
Yeah,
is the
is the cure.
cure.
And maybe because you're are you Canmore, Calgary? Where are you?
And now I'm in Victoria.
Oh,
I've
you're
been
Victoria.
Yeah. So when I was talking to Holly, we wondered if I could maybe be an advocate, if there's anyone coming from the Oasis and coming back here, if they need, I know you continue to work with people, but
Yep.
if they need someone one-on-one,
Yep.
to meet them, just to listen or to play with them.
Yep. And
Yeah,
maybe we can get you out this summer and you can come visit and
I would
meet,
love to.
yeah, meet some of the guests. Well, let's stay in touch after this podcast, and then we'll see if we can get you out. It'll be a surprise for some of the guests. You can be sort of a special speaker and have dinner with the group and tell your story.
That would be awesome. Yes.
Awesome.
I
Okay, well, Irene, this is fantastic. Thank you for sharing, and I know you're going to be an inspiration for a lot of people.